juice now? Who got the juice now? I got the juice. Who got the juice now? I got the juice now. Who got the juice?
After a couple of years of anticipation, Gotham Knights is finally in the hands of excited comic-loving gamers. This is WB Montreal's second crack at a Batman game, and despite a few controversies, there was quite a bit of hype surrounding this project. In this review / sharing of my thoughts, I'm going to talk about if I think the game has lived up to the hype and whether or not it is a worthy entry into the Bat family mythos. I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible, but some stuff may get spoiled regardless. There's your warning. At the time of recording, the game has officially been out for 1 week, and I think that is the perfect amount of time for us to wait before we actually review it, giving us time to play it, beat it, and experience the game. Gotham Knights kicks us off with one of the best cutscenes I have ever seen in my life. Even though I knew how it was going to end, watching Batman fight his assailant still had me on the edge of my seat, wondering what the Caped Crusader would do next. It's an excellent fight, the dialogue is good, and damn if this scene isn't absolutely gorgeous. Then boom, it's over. Batman is dead, and the heirs to his mantle, the Gotham Knights, are determined to solve his final case. This is where the game actually begins. Starting Batman's final case thrusts the player or players into a pretty neat tutorial that goes over stealth, combat, and crime-solving puzzles. This is where the game allows us as players to choose between one of 4 characters: Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, and Red Hood. And they venture out into Gotham to find out just what Batman was searching for before he died. Once the main tutorial is complete, the game starts, allowing players to access the Belfry, where you can review clues and change characters at will before you go on nightly patrols. There will be a couple more short tutorials that cover essential skills such as interrogation, but from here it's pretty much free roam until you have enough evidence to push the plot forward. Unlike previous Batman games, all of Gotham is available to you at the start, which can be a bit overwhelming, but nothing is ever too far away. The story is pretty simple. As I said before, Batman was working on a pretty big case before he died, and many members of his rogues galleries are actually weaved into said case. You'll see a lot of familiar faces in this game: Mr. Freeze, Harley Quinn, Penguin, Talia al Ghul, Clayface, and most importantly, the Court of Owls. Of course, while his enemies were numerous, the Dark Knight detective wasn't without his allies. While no members of the Justice League actually show up, we do get well-known Bat affiliates such as Alfred, Detective Montoya, and Lucius Fox. I guess Detective Bullock was too busy. All of these entities play a pivotal role in the story to help our heroes on their journey as they grieve and try to save the city they love. Now, I don't want to go too deep into the story, so in an effort to avoid further spoilers, we're going to move on from here. Gotham Knights is not an Arkham game. It doesn't even come close to playing like one. The combat is different, the gadgets are different, traveling is different, everything is different. Nothing was the same. Drake. Combat-wise, this game plays more like a watered-down version of Insomniac's Spider-Man. Only instead of gadgets, you get your momentum attacks, which can only be used once you feel the meter at the bottom right of the screen. Different character gadgets are also tied into this momentum drive, so it doesn't feel like we lost all access to our toys. We just don't have as much access to them as we once did in previous games. As far as combat goes, you got your quick light attacks, you got your slow heavy attacks, then you got your quick and light ranged attacks, and again, your slow heavy but more widespread ranged attacks. All of which can be seamlessly woven into your combos without breaking your streak or slowing you down too much. Then you have your grab. The grab can be followed up by a grapple strike, which instantly KOs most opponents, or a throw, which doesn't do a ton of damage, but it can be used to knock down other enemies in the area for environmental kills. Heavy attacks are also used for breaking people's guards and knocking down your enemies, making them vulnerable to your grab. The combat is simple enough, but that's not all there is to the game. Gotham Knights offers players several ways to get across the city, 2 of which the player has to unlock. Straight out of the gate, you can walk, run, use your grapple hook, and use the back cycle. As you progress through the game, you can unlock fast traveling from Lucius Fox, and you can unlock the knighthood abilities. Knighthood abilities are basically just different ways each character can quote unquote glide across the map. The unlockable modes of travel are pretty easy to obtain. I did all of them before ever fighting the first real boss. The only issue is traveling in Gotham Knights is tedious. Almost as tedious as it was in Arkham Knight. Now, I loved Arkham Knight, but gliding and driving that trash-ass Batmobile was ass. I'm sorry. Traveling in Arkham Knight is not fun, okay? And it's also not fun in Gotham Knights. It's kind of hard to enjoy traveling in Batman games when gamers have been spoiled by great traversal mechanics like web swinging in Insomniac Spider-Man games or the paraglider and shield surfing in Breath of the Wild. Hopefully this is something that can get fixed, but I doubt it. Like I said, it's hard to enjoy traveling in a Batman game. Like most RPGs these days, Gotham Knights comes with weapons and gear that raise your stats and give certain buffs. Gear grants elemental damage and defensive buffs in the forms of fire, ice, poison, and shock. The game also grants resources for players to craft their own gear based on certain gear recipes in the game. This system is broken though. All right. The moment you craft or find some great gear, you're going to find some better gear 2 seconds later. And that cycle goes on forever. WB Montréal, and I want these dickheads to hear this too. This is not how you develop a gear system in a video game. Why should I craft this suit or these weapons when the next person I defeat is going to drop something better? Every enemy doesn't need to be holding on to a Bat Family recipe. Hell, I'm running out of supplies more than anything. Maybe have the enemies drop that instead and save the suit recipes for the many, many loot chests that we find in Gotham City. Please fix this shit. As I stated before, the game lets you play with 4 characters: Batgirl, Nightwing, Robin, and Red Hood. Each have their own unique combat style with unlockable special moves and traversal techniques. Before the game came out, I was most excited to play as Red Hood, but the more I play, the more I gravitate towards characters like Batgirl and Robin. In my opinion, none of the characters are boring to play as, but these two are the most fun. So now we're going to get into the characters. Dick Grayson, the first Robin, who eventually became Nightwing. He serves as the leader of the group. He's flashy, he has panache, he makes a bunch of quips. He's essentially what this game thinks Peter Parker is. Nightwing fights using his screamer sticks and his ranged weapons are darts. Nightwing's special moves focus on evasion and teamwork. If you look at his skill tree, you'll see that this character was designed for online co-op. It kind of makes sense that he specifically was designed to buff your teammates because, again, he's the team leader. Progressing through Nightwing's skill trees will allow the player to unlock abilities that fill Nightwing's super meter, aka momentum drive, much faster than any other character in the game. Successful evasion, you get extra meter. Success for counterattack, even more extra meter than usual. There should never be a reason why you should run out of meter playing as Nightwing. And while he is fun to play as, he's the character I got the least amount of excitement from. Like I said, none of the characters in this game are boring to play as. It's just that everybody else in the game was more fun to play as than Nightwing, in my opinion. I guess that's mostly because I don't play online co-op like that. But your experience may vary. Jason Todd, the second person to ever don the Robin costume, who was later murdered by the Joker and then resurrected by the Lazarus Pit. He is now known as the Red Hood. Red Hood takes a deadlier approach to taking down villains, meaning that if you're a bad guy and you meet Red Hood, most likely your ass is going to get shot in the face. Red Hood serves as the team's powerhouse in this game. He's big, he hits hard, he shoots people, and unlocking his skill tree allows him to hit harder and shoot more people. This was the character I was most excited for because I love Red Hood in the comics. And prior to unlocking his skill tree, he was the character I was most disappointed in though. Jason is definitely fun, but you have to earn that fun. As you unlock more nodes, Jason becomes more deadly. My favorite thing that I've unlocked with him is his concussion mines. You grab an enemy and instead of a grapple strike, press the throw button.
When you do this, Jason will stick a mine on the person and then toss them in whatever direction you make him. Now, the mine's not going to go off until you shoot it though. Shooting the mine causes it to explode. That explosion covers a pretty wide area. Be sure to utilize this. It's really fun when fighting crowds. As soon as you shoot that concussion mine into a crowd, they all fall down like bowling pins. It is hilarious. Barbara Gordon, daughter of Gotham City's police commissioner Jim Gordon, also known as the Batgirl. Surprisingly, Batgirl to me is the most fun to play as. Her combos look cool, her momentum drive moves have a lot of flair to them, and playing as Babs is actually the closest players will get to playing like Batman from the other Arkham games. Plus, look at her. Shawty is a baddie. Batgirl also serves as a team hacker, making it easier for her to get environmental stealth kills. Aside from her momentum moves, her coolest feature is her drone. Once you unlock this thing, you're gonna have a blast. The drone damages enemies and heals Batgirl at the same time. It's great for dealing with large, overwhelming crowds. She's everything a person can want in a Batman game. Batgirl is cool, Batgirl is fun, she has the best drip in the game, and Batgirl is thicker than 2 bowls of oatmeal. 10 out of 10 character, highly recommend. Tim Drake, the third and the best Robin. Don't at me. It's fun as hell to play as. While Babs is the hacker, Robin serves as the tech head of the group. If the team were like the Ninja Turtles, Nightwing would be Leo, Red Hood would be Ralph, Batgirl would be that weird girl turtle from the live action show in the 90s, and Tim would be a mixture of Donnie and Mikey. He uses a bow staff, and damn does he use that bow staff. Robin beats his opponents with swagger. Every move he does is fancy and satisfying, but his moveset also shows how he is a novice compared to the rest of the team, seeing as how his moves leave him the most open for counterattacks. Robin also gets the coolest momentum move in the game, in my opinion. Progress far enough with Robin and he will begin to utilize a Justice League teleporter for his momentum attacks, and that shit looks so fucking cool. Robin also starts the game with one of the cooler, though least practical, momentum attacks by utilizing, basically it's a shadow clone, all right? The hologram decoy, as it's called, has never once worked for me, and that's why I say it's the least practical. While on paper it's a good idea, it is not executed well, and this poor execution of the move was actually enough of a negative to replace Robin with Batgirl as the most fun character for me to play as. While he is fun, his moves are nowhere near as satisfying or fun to use as Babs. Robin also has the second best drip in the game. When I boot this game up, I mainly play as Robin or Batgirl. At this point, after beating it, there's no one else. Now, I just threw a lot of information at you all, and most of it was positive. You may be thinking to yourself, Juiceman, do you have any real criticisms at all? You didn't even talk about the controversies that were all over the gaming news sites. Well, that's because I was saving that for this portion of the video. So, let's start with the main thing that people were talking about. The fucking frames per second. For me personally, the console version of the game being locked at 30 frames per second wasn't a huge problem because I don't have very good eyesight. I'm gonna keep it a $150 with you. I can't tell the difference between 30 and 60 frames per second. The other side of that coin though is if this game performs at such low standards, why did this have to be a next-gen console exclusive game? God of War, Monster Hunter World, Ghost of Tsushima, Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales are all high-def, 60 frames per second game and run well on PS4 and 5. Hell, for as pretty as Gotham Knights is, all of those games graphically look better than this. So why is this game locked to next generation only? Can anyone at WB Montreal explain this to me? I'll wait. No. Is it perhaps because there is no explanation? It's ridiculous. My other issue with this project is this game is weighed down with a litany of small, teeny tiny glitches and issues that took some of the enjoyment out of my experience. When the game was running at its best, I had a blast. All right. I ain't gonna hold you. I had fun playing this game. All right. But there were moments that the shit would glitch out and I get stuck on a small piece of terrain, or my character would throw a batarang instead of doing a stealth knockout. And there's also this issue that if you're doing a certain action and you move the camera while doing said action, the game will just stop what you're doing and you'll have to start over. All right. That shit is annoying. It's 2022. There is no reason why on PS5, Nightwing can't step over a curb or a pebble without getting stuck. Batgirl should not be throwing batarangs when I'm trying to get a stealth kill while the prompt is on screen. And Red Hood shouldn't have to start the process of disarming bombs over when I'm trying to survey the area. That shit is unacceptable, and WB Montreal should have caught these problems before putting the game out. Here's a small caveat. As of today, Friday, October 28th, while I was editing this video, Gotham Knights put out a patch that they claim fixed all of these issues. I'm going to play it and see if they actually did fix it. But if you guys did, thank you. Good job. All that said, what do I give Gotham Knights? For the combat, the story, the graphics, the performance issues, and for Batgirl being a ton of fun, I'll give this game a 7 out of 10. It's a fun, albeit very flawed, Bat Family adventure, and if 60 frames per second isn't a deal breaker for you, there's a good bit of fun that can be found in this game. I say pick it up, when it goes on sale. I don't think that this is a $70 game, but I do think that it's a game worth playing. Anyways, you got the juice now. Peace.
Fam.